That's what I decided to do. Confusion and everyone around me who loved and cared for me are how I know it. Those who knew me might have laughed or snickered, wondering what in the world he's doing. Kevin Costner's former maid was abruptly let go after 12 arduous years of employment. And she didn't simply astonish those around her with what she did next. The whole internet was taken aback. She became viral within hours of revealing her side of the tale. Millions of individuals were left in a state of shock, confusion, and curiosity. After all this time, why was she fired? And what specifically did she disclose that attracted so much online attention? Join us as we reveal the shocking move that completely upended Kevin Costner's life and the real reason behind her termination. What went viral overnight? Kevin's former maid. Kevin Costner's former maid returned to his house after a 12-year absence. She was aware of Kevin's preferred coffee, his preferred method of ironing his clothing, and the time the kids woke up in the morning. She kept the house functioning like a silent engine in addition to cleaning the rooms. She had adapted to the rhythm of the Costner household and was no longer only a maid. While Kevin spent his entire life in the spotlight, she worked behind the scenes every day. However, she was abruptly fired after 12 years of service. No notice, no festivity, no goodbye. Many family members were caught off guard by the suddenness of it. Everyone was most surprised by what she said after being fired, not only by the fact that she was fired, because she avoided discussing dust or dishes when she spoke. She made a surprising statement regarding Kevin's private life that touched on the topic that had been in the news for months. She may have alluded to secrets related to Kevin's divorce, according to others, and her remarks went viral just hours after they were posted online. What, then, caused her remarks to spread so quickly? And why was what she said so important to people? This is when things start to get interesting, so keep watching to find out. However, we must go back and examine what was going on in Kevin Costner's life, particularly in his marital and personal relationships, in order to fully see why her remarks were so powerful. Because people pay attention when someone who witnessed it all firsthand speaks up. In 2004, Kevin Costner wed Christine Baumgartner. Christine was a handbag designer and model, and their romance appeared ideal. They led a peaceful, private life on their stunning ranch in Santa Barbara, California, and produced 3 kids together. They appeared content to the outer world. In Hollywood, where many marriages end in divorce, they had been married for 18 years, which is a long period. However, when fractures appear, even the longest marriages can end. And gradually, things began to shift. Court records and interviews with the public indicate that Kevin and Christine developed a growing conflict. Now, knowing a little more about Kevin's past helps to truly comprehend what caused those cracks. He was married to Cindy Silva prior to Christine. They remained together for 16 years after being married in 1978. Cindy supported him during his formative performing years. However, their union came to an end in 1994. Why? Kevin's hectic schedule. Their relationship began to suffer as a result of his lifestyle as a rising Hollywood star. Moreover, there were reports of adultery. Alleged affairs were discussed, including one with a hula dancer when Waterworld was being filmed. The harm was done regardless of the veracity of those rumors. At the time, that divorce was among the priciest in Hollywood. The deal required Kevin to pay Cindy over $80 million. And as a result, he started to be extremely cautious about relationships, particularly when it came to safeguarding his house and money. Kevin wasn't eager to be married again when he met Christine. Actually, things weren't always easy between them. They dated for several years before splitting up. Kevin was hesitant, but Christine wanted kids. He wasn't sure if he was prepared to start the process afresh because he already had kids from his previous marriage. However, he came to the realization that he didn't want to lose her after some time away. They reconciled, worked things out, and eventually got married. That was a pivotal moment. Despite his previous grief, Kevin was prepared to let his heart open once more. Their 19-year age difference was one of the problems. When they first met, Christine was in her late 20s and Kevin was already in his late 40s. The age difference didn't appear to issue at first. However, as time passed, their disparate aspirations and lifestyles became apparent. Christine had entered a new stage of life. She wanted to start a life with someone who was there and interested every day since she had more energy. Kevin, on the other hand, was deeply focused on his profession and had already lived a significant portion of his life. Such age differences can work, but they require a great deal of patience, compromise, and problem-solving. Additionally, love alone isn't always sufficient. Kevin dreamed of making a large, multi-part Western, and he was giving it everything he had: his heart, his time, and his money. The American Tale Horizon was the name of such project. However, he appeared to be spending less time with his family the more time he dedicated to that endeavor. And gradually, it began tearing them apart. Christine, however, preferred a spouse who was totally there rather than one who simply returned home exhausted from business meetings or filming. It must have been hard for Kevin to sense history repeating itself because he had already seen the harm a career could do to a marriage. He made an effort to balance both, but it became increasingly difficult. She then startled everyone by filing for divorce in May 2023. She stated that the divorce was due to irreconcilable disagreements. This legal phrase essentially indicates that they were unable to resolve their differences. It was said that Kevin was taken aback. He said that he was devastated by the divorce and didn't want it. Christine, however, was being serious. She requested that the court allow her to remain in their house and receive support for their children since she wanted to move on. This is when things became even more difficult. When Kevin married Christine, he made sure to have a prenuptial agreement in place because he had previously gone through a very difficult divorce. Some items were intended to be protected by that prenuptial agreement, particularly his house. Kevin didn't want to lose everything again after what had occurred with Cindy. That security was something he thought he needed. However, Christine refused to leave the house when she filed for divorce. That turned into a major bone of contention. Kevin thought the prenup was unambiguous. She was forced to leave, but Christine didn't think it was fair and requested more time. The legal dispute became complicated at that point. A protracted, well-publicized divorce fight ensued. It was neither peaceful nor quiet. It grabbed headlines and took place in courtrooms. Money and the amount of child support Christine should receive were the topics of contention. There were disputes over who should receive what and where they should live. Kevin continued to work on his film while attempting to maintain his focus, despite the fact that his personal life was in disarray. Early in 2024, the divorce was finalized. However, the drama continued even after the official documents were signed. Made headlines once more a few weeks later. She was spotted sporting a glittering engagement ring on her finger. And the guy she was dating? Connor, Josh. He was more than a stranger. Kevin had known him before. According to some stories, he was a family friend. He had been close to Christine during the divorce, according to others. It fueled an already raging fire, whether Kevin saw it coming or not. People were taken aback. Christine had every right to move on, according to those who backed her. Others said it was too near or too early. In any case, the story went viral once more, which had an impact on Kevin's career and public image. As we explore the impact this had on his career, Kevin Costner's successful career, creative risks, and public backlash, stay tuned. Many people's perceptions of Kevin Costner changed once his divorce from Christine Baumgartner was made public. He had been the cool-headed star of baseball classics, Western movies, and strong parent figures for years. However, rumors of a potential dispute behind the scenes of his popular show Yellowstone also began to surface when the divorce drama began to garner media attention. His public and personal image suffered as a result. He was no longer only viewed as an actor. They began to perceive him as someone who was stuck between difficult career choices and a chaotic personal life. And others began to wonder what was actually wrong with Kevin. Yellowstone has been a major topic of conversation in Kevin's life lately. Given that it began when he wasn't always in the spotlight, this show ended up being a significant turning point in his career. He portrayed John Dutton, a fierce but compassionate rancher who would stop at nothing to defend his family and property. Big land fights, family problems, and drama were all jumbled together in the play, in a manner that captivated millions of people. Additionally, Kevin's performance thrust him back into the spotlight in Hollywood. As John Dutton, he was adored by fans. He exuded a sense of justice, quiet strength, and that quintessential Western vibe. Kevin gained a new type of stardom because to Yellowstone, particularly with younger audiences who weren't raised on his previous films. Once more, he became well known. And for a time, it appeared like everything was going smoothly, but behind the scenes, things began to shift. There were rumors that Kevin and Taylor Sheridan, the show's creator, were at odds. There were ego confrontations, according to some. According to others, Kevin didn't like the direction the show was taking. Additionally, there were reports that Kevin preferred to work on his own side project more than Yellowstone. Scheduling proved problematic. There were grievances about scripts being altered at the last minute or arriving late. It got more difficult for the concert to proceed smoothly as all of this anxiety increased. Kevin Costner's departure from Yellowstone was eventually revealed. Fans were taken aback. People began to take sides as soon as the news spread. Some people believed that Kevin should be allowed to pursue his aspirations. Some accused him of creating the mayhem behind the scenes. In actuality, it was a bold move to leave such a popular show. What made Kevin leave, then? This leads us to the American saga Horizon. Kevin had been considering and working on this project for years. It was his ideal endeavor. His goal was to create a broad, expansive Western that would depict the realities of early American life. It was an enormous task. He intended to produce 4 films rather than simply one. Kevin invested a significant amount of his personal funds to realize this idea. He starred in it, helped write it, and directed it. People were eager to see what he had produced when the first segment of Horizon debuted at the 2024 Cannes Film Festival. For him, it was a significant event. However, the outcomes were not entirely consistent. The film was praised by some, and claimed that it had stunning images and a powerful emotional narrative. Some felt it was too slow or too long. He had hoped for better reviews, but they fell short. Even worse was the film's poor box office performance. It had trouble drawing large audiences, particularly in comparison to other movies. The subsequent chapters of the saga were postponed due to the first chapter's poor performance. And it was significant. Kevin had previously invested a great deal of time, funds, and effort in Horizon. Everything was then placed on hold. This damaged his reputation in addition to his finances. People began to question whether his decision to leave Yellowstone was the right one. Some questioned whether he would ever finish his passion endeavor. His private life was still in the news at the same time. The divorce was more than a personal affair. Everyone was talking about it. As a result, more people became aware of what was going on within his house. Thus, here he was, a once-adored star who was having issues in his private and public lives. Kevin found it difficult, but he persisted. Saying that it was a narrative that had to be told, he stood behind Horizon. He added that he was pleased with the work he had completed, even if things weren't exactly as planned. Although he appeared composed in interviews, it was obvious that these had been some of the most trying years of his life. Fans continued to talk throughout all of this. There were many who pitted him. He ought to have remained on Yellowstone, according to some. Regardless of their stance, however, practically everyone acknowledged that Kevin Costner was up against a formidable obstacle. Kevin's life had changed significantly as a result of the drama surrounding his divorce, his abrupt departure from a popular TV show, and his difficulties with his dream project. The man who had portrayed silent, powerful heroes was suddenly facing very public, very real issues. However, the narrative did not finish here. Behind the scenes, more was still taking place that would influence his destiny in unexpected ways. The most intriguing aspect of all of this, however, is this. Keep an eye out. Kevin Costner's dating, rumors, and his long-lasting legacy. It's hardly surprising that people began speculating about who he might be dating next after everything that transpired with his divorce, the drama surrounding his popular show Yellowstone, and the increasing attention on his personal life. Rumors don't go away quickly when you're a well-known figure in Hollywood, like Kevin Costner. The media began to pick up on rumors that Kevin was seeing singer Jewel shortly after his highly public divorce from Christine Baumgartner. Despite the lack of formal confirmation, the internet was already convinced that something was happening after the two were spotted together at a tennis fundraiser. And the buzz only becomes louder when people on the internet start chatting. More names were soon added to the mix, including Sharon Stone and even Jennifer Lopez. Even though there was no concrete evidence to support any of those rumors, the conjecture persisted. But Kevin remained largely mute during the entire ordeal. He took his time making large claims and clearing the air. He then stated that he was concentrating on his job, his kids, and just getting his life back on track. He had no interest in making news or being embroiled in romantic drama. And that's the thing. Kevin Costner, who has always valued privacy above attention, particularly in his relationships, was subtly revealing his true self to the world while everyone else was occupied discussing his personal life. He has never posted personal updates on social media like other celebrities do. He participates in candid interviews about the people he is seeing. He remained the same even after his second marriage ended. Like he always has, he remained private. Even years after their divorce, he reportedly remained close to Cindy Silva, his first wife, according to some sources. People admire him even more because of his loyalty, which speaks volumes about his character and endures long when a relationship ends. Kevin was concentrating on sustaining his career while the tabloids were naming people and attempting to piece together what was happening. Personal misfortunes did not deter him. In actuality, he was continuing to work on one of his most significant projects despite everything that was happening in his personal life. And you must examine Kevin's past if you wish to comprehend his level of determination. Kevin Costner was not raised in the opulence of Hollywood. Despite being born in California, He did not spend his time on movie sets or at parties for famous people. His origins were modest. He took acting school, performed odd jobs, and attempted to break into a field where few people ever succeed. He had to work for his celebrity. It wasn't given to him. His big break came in the middle of the 1980s when he was cast in movies like Bull Durham and The Untouchables. His career took off thanks to those parts, and he quickly rose to prominence as one of America's favorite leading men. Then came Dances with Wolves, a project that genuinely transformed his life. In addition to being the movie's actor, Kevin also served as its director and producer. Many people didn't think it would succeed, therefore it was a big risk. The movie was a Western, which wasn't particularly popular in Hollywood at the time. Some believed Kevin was in over his head, and others questioned if he could pull it off. However, he put his heart into the story and believed it. And the outcome? Best Picture and Best Director were among the 7 Academy Awards the movie took home. People suddenly understood that Kevin Costner was more than just a good-looking actor. He was a serious storyteller and filmmaker. Kevin proceeded to play a variety of roles over the years. He portrayed fathers, bodyguards, cowboys, and baseball guys. He appeared in both high-profile and low-profile films as well as more intimate productions. And he persisted despite the fact that some of his ventures didn't do well at the box office. He persisted in trying, working, and sharing stories that were important to him. However, Kevin Costner's life has been about more than just filmmaking. Additionally, he has a reputation for giving back and utilizing his position to advocate for causes close to his heart. He has participated in environmental initiatives over the years, such as Ocean Therapy Solutions, a business that creates technologies to clean up oil spills. His business contributed to cleanup efforts following the 2010 BP oil spill. Although that type of labor isn't particularly noteworthy or glamorous, it demonstrates Kevin's character as someone who cares about the world and isn't scared to get involved. Additionally, he assisted in the development of Hear Hear, a travel app that allows users to listen to audio narratives about American history and culture while they are driving across the nation. This demonstrates his passion for telling stories in real life as much as on the big screen. He thinks that stories have the ability to unite people and provide them insight into their origins. Despite all of his life's ups and downs, Kevin has always managed to stay going. And that leads us to his most recent endeavor, the American saga Horizon, which is also arguably his most ambitious. For Kevin, this isn't just another film. He has spent years pursuing this desire. The narrative of America's growth and the individuals who experienced it is told in the epic Western Horizon. Kevin invested a significant amount of his personal funds in addition to his time and effort. He chose to finance the story personally since he thought it was so good. It mattered that much to him. Furthermore, Kevin remained optimistic despite the fact that the first chapter of Horizon didn't do as well at the box office as anticipated. No matter how long it takes, he has stated that he still intends to complete the narrative. Fame and wealth are not the source of that kind of enthusiasm. It stems from a deeper need to leave something significant behind. Kevin wants to share meaningful stories. Beyond movie tickets and award shows, he hopes to leave a lasting impact. And it is what truly distinguishes him from a lot of other people in the field. Let's pause for a moment and consider all that Kevin Costner has experienced. His first marriage lasted a long time before ending in divorce. He subsequently underwent a second divorce, this time in public view. He lost a significant part in a popular TV program. His romantic life was the subject of rumors. On a passion project that hasn't yet yielded the results he had hoped for, he took a huge risk, and he persisted through it all. After all of that, most individuals would slow down. Kevin would not take a break or hide from the spotlight like many others might. Rather, he remains upright, continuing to work and maintain faith in the narrative's potency. He still attends important events, such as the 50th anniversary celebration of Saturday Night Live, demonstrating that people are still interested. People are still interested in him, still watching, and still supporting him. And that's the main thing that sets Kevin Costner apart. He is more than just a director and an actor. He has survived. He is a man who has persevered through both personal and professional adversities. Additionally, he emerged from the experience with his dignity unharmed. He continues to pursue his goals and explore new areas. Even now, when people are still wondering who he could be seeing or what project he will work on next, Kevin is still focused on his priorities. His dream is not yet complete. Horizon. There is still a story being told in America. And that's how we know Kevin hasn't given up in spite of all that's happened. Do you believe that Kevin Costner's tumultuous divorce has altered public perception of him? Or did it simply demonstrate his true strength? Tell us in the space provided for comments below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for future videos if you like this one. Click the following video that appears on your screen as well. You'll like it.